and as it pertains to like today in society, people my age want to do everything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they
for
want
sure.
to have the
Right.
trips. They want the Instagram photos. They want the, oh, I just got my job with Goldman Sachs in New York,
Damn.
flex, like, and like all these like super fancy jobs, and it's like, okay, one, that fancy job, you're working like 90 hours a week, getting treated like
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
And then you're going into debt with the whole European trip. Like,
Because they're not really going in for the job. They're going for influence.
influence, status.
Yeah, they're doing influencer shit
Yeah, so like,
and disguise it as a job.
yeah, and
That's
like,
why they still in debt.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Exactly.
I think like people my age think like, oh, I need to do this now. I'm in my 20s. When I reach my 30s, I can't do any of this. It's like, no, like just let life be. Like, to the whole point, like you're exactly where you need
to be.
Like
Yeah,
you just
that's
gotta
right.
let life
That's facts.
do its thing.
So like, how do you? Okay, so what would you say, like someone who says, well, you're where you need to be. I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
A little bit. When does that become complacency?
Like
Where-
you're settling for where you
Right. Oh, this is exactly where I need to be. Life will happen when it happens.
are. I think that's just like laziness. Like,
So we're like what I guess what I'm asking is like, how do you catch yourself from falling into complacency?
Yeah.
If it's I'm where I need to be, where is the line between being proactive and being complacent? Right. I'm where I need to be, but can I do more, or am I doing enough?
I think that's all dependent on like self-motivation, right? Like you've got to like, what do I need to do? Like, oh, I hate my, like, for example, like, oh, I really hate my job now. I feel like I'm going to be stuck here forever. And I'm trying to like apply for other jobs, but I'm not getting anything. Okay, what do I need to do? Like to put to my resume, like get credentials and things like that to like set me apart. I think it all depends on the person. Like, do you have that motivation to like get out of this funk and where you are, and like, do you want to like reach and go
Right.
forward? I think that's like,
Because what you described to me was like, you wanted something, and you weren't able to obtain it. But that's actually
Yeah.
that's
not
rude.
fun. Yeah.
Wow, that's really disrespectful.
There we go. Yeah. So
You want something?
yeah. So you want something, and I'm guessing the universe isn't handing it to you, or the stars aren't aligning for you to reach that point.
Yeah.
What next? Like, when do you decide, okay, I'm where I need to be? Like, after what? After I've applied, talked to more people, network. Like, when is the right time to give up and be like, I'm where I need to be?
I think you get like this sense of feeling of like contentment. It's not so much, oh, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I
But it's more
gotcha.
like I'm content.
Gotcha.
I got you.
Like things are in motion, things are going right. It's like an instinctive thing
I
that you
got you.
feel. Like right now with where I'm at in my career, I'm like, I've got to do something different, because I was like, I'm like having this like little sense of fear that's like lighting a fire in me. I'm like,
feel you.
I need to do something different. Like, what can I do
I feel
different to
you.
kind of like move me out? And that's another thing. Like, do you have that fire in you?
If you don't have that urgency to,
Right.
if you don't have that
You-
urgency to move up or da da da,
You've got to have the urgency.
Well, the
got
question is too: is are you giving yourself a time limit, or
Yeah, that's
and
right.
or,
Right.
or
What's-
is it because of your age? Because
Yeah.
sometimes those two things can factor in. They're going to be like, okay, I give myself this much time. I should be in this position by this age. Then the question is, that's kind of what shifts a lot of things. So the question is, are you timing yourself based off of where you think you should be, or are you going by, by this age, this is where I should be at?
Yeah. I've told myself that in a year I want to be in a different role. I'm giving myself a year. Everybody is different with that time. Like, everybody's on their own time
for sure,
line,
for sure.
right? And that kind of goes into this. Like, everybody's on a different timeline. Like, my timeline isn't supposed to be what someone else's timeline is looking
Gotcha.
like. Like, everybody's timeline's different.
You don't compare it.
Yeah.
I
And that's
gotcha.
another thing is, like,
Ah.
that's what what I realized, I was like,
There
oh
we
my
go.
gosh, I'm comparing myself to other people
There
who
we
are on
go.
a different timeline.
Yeah.
And that's like stealing my joy. Because you know what they say,
Uh-huh.
comparison is the
It's
thief
the
of
thief
joy.
of
The thief of joy, yeah.
And I was like, wait, I'm so miserable. Like, this is actually stopping me from, like, getting to where I need to be going forward. Right? And, like, when I was applying for jobs before I got my current one, I was like, I want to move to Florida. And I told myself...
Get out of current ticker.
Love it.
I told myself, I think it was maybe February or March, and I told myself that I am gonna get a job by May 5th, which May 5th of 2024 would have marked a year that I graduated.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I told myself, I'm going to get a job by that 1 year mark.
Gotcha.
And I did.
Okay.
All right.
Like,
Good shit.
I got
Good
this
shit.
job at
Like
like
you
the last
put
week of
in
April.
the actions to.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you. Because like I think what I guess what I was really trying to get to was like a lot of things are easier said than done when it's saying I want to do this and be at this point, but it's like it's not going to fall in your lap. You know what I'm saying?
No, and it's like, okay, what are you going to do to
what
make
are
it
you
happen?
going to do to make it
Yeah.
happen?
And what
You
I
know
did
I'm
was
saying?
like I was consistently applying for jobs. I was consistently I was on like probably maybe 2 or 3 networking calls a week.
But that's because she put in the work and the
Put in
effort.
the work.
See,
Yeah.
it's like the book Jimmy or Black Coffee.
Black Coffee
recommended us
yeah.
Think and Grow Rich. So it's like if you really want something, you have to physically manifest it, not wait for
like the actions you take have to be the actions
Yeah.
you'll take once you're in that position.
Yeah.
exactly.
Like if you know what I always an example I always use, like I won't know how to responsibly manage money when the money, like if I wait for the money to get here.
yeah.
I have to understand how to manage money.
Or you'll be broke in 6
that
months.
way when the money gets here, I already have a system.
You already know
I
where
exactly-
you want it. Where,
right, I
And
know
it
what
just
percentages. I know what the percentages will work the same way whether I have $10 or $1 million.
Yeah.
But it's learning those and practicing those habits and those skills while I'm working towards that.
Yeah.
That allow me to fully function in that space. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I think like another thing, like when you're like learning that is for me, like for example, like the networking calls. I was taking networking calls with people who really didn't care.
Gotcha.
Like they were just doing it to be nice. They were doing it because they were like,
Money.
oh, you're such a like that's so cute of you that like you want to do all these things. It's like almost like patronizing, and I was just like, I'm an adult. I have a degree. Don't patronize me.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually trying to have like a serious
Conversation
with you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like make a connection and get a mentor.
They're
out
trying
of
to
it.
minimalize it.
Yeah.
I got you.
And there was only like one person out of all the people that I ended up networking with that to this day, I'm still in contact with, and I'm actually doing freelance for them.
Okay.
Starting it
fire.
out. Yeah.
Look at this shit. Good
Yeah.
shit.
We love
And-
it. We love it.
Caleb just said, just spend it.
Caleb! welcome, brother. Boy, am I glad
Caleb
to
is
see
like,
you.
yeah, it just grows on
Because he's a
trees.
CPA. He's
Oh
a
my god.
CPA.
Oh yeah, you told me
Yeah.
about him. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's gonna be
He's gonna be our CPA.
He's gonna be our
Yeah, we've been telling him that for years.
CFP.
He's
What?
your CPA. I'm your PR.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. We got that
We
shit.
already know. We already got the team.
Making connections.
The assembled
That's it.
Avengers. Boy, what? We
Um,
love it. We love it.
But it was funny because the girl who I'm still in contact with today and I'm doing freelance for, it was like almost a year to the date that I like had our first call with her, and I met her through a sorority networking group,
Yeah.
and she reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, do you do any freelance PR work?" She termed it differently. She said fractional, which is another term for freelance. But I was like, at the moment, I do not, but I'm looking, into getting into it because I want to build back my portfolio. I want to make a career transition.
Yeah.
I need to pick up my skill set again.
Yeah.
And we reconnected. We had a phone call. It was great. And the company that her and her sister have is a wine brand. It's like a
damn.
snob-free wine brand. They
That's what's up.
do all organic
Wait, what'd you say?
practices.
Snob free.
Snob
Snob free.
What that mean for the audience? What that mean?
Because like their whole premise is like to have fun, is to make wine simple for everybody to enjoy.
I gotcha.
And they also do like they source organic, ethically practiced and harvested wine, which is
Gotcha.
great, which is something I love. But she was joking over the phone because she was like, because they're still in the startup phase, and she was like, yeah, we can't like pay you now, but she's like, we can just send you a box of wine. And she's jokingly like, we'll send you a box of wine.
That will be your payment.
For like,
That's your payment,
You work
bro.
for
We gonna
free.
get you.
You work for
Like,
free and you
we'll
will get
just, like,
drunk.
she was like, well, if I'm gonna write about your product, I gotta try it. But she was like, yeah, well, I'll just send you a box of wine for a couple, press pitches in return. I was like, okay.
Hey,
I would have
feel
said,
it. I feel it.
sign it. I'll save it because it's gonna be worth more later.
Oh, like
And she was like,
Autograph?
are you serious? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. I mean, I told her, I was like, if I'm gonna write about your product, I gotta
Yeah,
try
no,
how
it.
many
we feel
cases you get, bro?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool.
she got a whole garage full, bro.
I got
Palace,
to rent
you
it.
see
I got
that?
to rent it. I rented out like a storage unit at my apartment complex.
Just drop it, Palace.
Here's your payment.
Amazon, like.
Yep.
But yeah, back to the whole point. Like when I was networking, it was like hitting a wall with
Yeah.
like, the people I was talking with.
So
and
they weren't enthusiastic or interested
Or
in
even
doing it.
right.
no,
Gotcha.
and then back
There's
to
a lot of people that aren't motivated.
yeah, back to like my main point is that like you're gonna like have your highs and your lows.
Yeah,
the
for sure.
moment of it all. Like
Facts.
I remember I had like really like low lows because I was like living at home with my parents and my mom worked remotely, so I would like literally just like cry to my mom. I was just like
feel it.
crying
I
to my
feel it.
mom.
I feel it. Hey, mom be here, dog.
Struggles.
I just want to tell them about the wine.
Because like I was like I'm getting ghosted by like recruiters and like
Damn.
no one's responding. People are canceling interviews because they found someone else,
Yeah.
or they're late, like 15 to 20 minutes late on an interview. It was just like
Spooky.
yeah, it was like ridiculous. So there was like those really low lows, but something in me, like back to that whole point, you got to have that fire in you. I was like, this is only temporary. Like it's
Yeah.
not permanent. Like I'm gonna get a job eventually. Like I have
Right, absolutely.
And it
like
happened.
you gotta step outside the timeline real quick and be like, bro,
Exactly.
it's only been like 6-7 months, a year
It's
out
a
of my whole life,
perspective,
bro.
right.
Yeah,
Facts.
for sure.
Yeah.
Facts.
And like the time, not like just a timeline with your career, but like in life in
In
general.
life, right.
You know, you see other people have all these things right now, and you see it on social media, but in reality, you don't know what's going on behind that camera. You don't know
Yeah,
what's
for
going
sure.
on like inside of that person. And I've also learned that like, and like the whole point of this list is like it's about your 20s and how your 20s like suck and all the things you're gonna learn. And this is something that I've learned in my 20s. But I've also heard from people who are in their 30s that like, yeah, your 20s is supposed to suck.
Yeah.
Your 20s
Yeah,
is
Unless
supposed to
unless you're
suck.
born rich, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
then your
It's supposed
30s
to
is
suck.
like,
You should be
Because
there or
you've
at
seen
least
every
almost there.
right. Everything in life is officially a replay.